everybody, PattyAnne here. I'm going to show you how to make these really cute sublimatable stockings. You can see about how big they are. Of course, you can make them any size you wanted to. And I just bought fabric from Hobby Lobby yesterday. I'll have the link for you down below. Hey, if you use a 40% off coupon, I bet you a yard of this could cost you about $2. And remember, imagine how many stockings you could make out of this. This would make really fabulous pillowcases too, that you could sublimate on. But today I'm going to show you how to make these stockings, and I'm going to show you some of the mistakes I made so that you won't have to make them. For example, let's move these good ones out of the way. And the first one that I made was this one. And I sewed it with my sewing machine, and I left a place to turn it because I was smart enough to do that. So I turned it right side out, and then I realized, well, there's no opening at the top. This is definitely not a stocking, it's just a thing. So that didn't work right. Then I made another one, and this one turned out pretty good, except for I don't like how sloppy the top of this looks, and I'm not crazy about the way it looks around the edges either. So then I figured out how to make them perfectly. They'll fit nicely like this. This is sewn. This part is simply glued down, and you'll see in the video that I use art glitter glue. And it says you can use it for fabric as long as you heat set it, and then it'll be fine forever and ever. Amen-ish. So I'm going to show you how to make these. It's really simple. So let's get started by looking up at my computer screen. And by the way, I'll have this free downloadable file for you on my website, PattyAnnesPlace.blog. Simply go into the library link and you'll see it there. Or you can make your own. Okay, here's Layla's stocking all printed out, and I'm now going to just cut around this page, hopefully using my rotary cutter. I have to go a few times to get it to cut through all the way. There we go. Okay, so that should be ready. All those strings. Yikes. Okay, there we go. All right, so now I'm going to put the heat, press this for a moment in my heat press, just to make sure that the wrinkles are out and any moisture. I have my heat press set at 380 degrees, and I'm going to press the final product for 50 seconds. But this is just going to be a few seconds to get the wrinkles out and whatnot. I have it on a medium pressure. Okay, there we go. I'm going to put a piece of white paper underneath here in case there's any that goes outside of where I don't want it. See if I can raise you up just a little bit. There you go. Okay. So put this on here, making sure not to get the selvage edge included. Okay, time's up. Let's see how it works. Looks beautiful. I'll show you over here. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is cut around these dotted lines that I printed on there. I just use scissors, and I don't have to cut it exactly right now because I can use that later to make sure I'm cutting well. Now, if you'll remember, we put an extra set of dotted lines right here across this blue, and we're going to iron that down, so that when we first sew, it'll be exactly where it needs to be. And I'll show you that in just a sec. So this top piece right here, I might want to cut it right on the top dotted line, as well as this one right here. Remember, there's two dotted lines. Hopefully you can see. I'm going to cut straight across the top set of dotted lines. And then just kind of cut around the edge of the dotted lines. And again, this can be a rough cut because we'll be cleaning it up after we've sewn it. Okay, so this is trash. And now I'm just going to get out something that I can iron on. I have my iron here. Whoopsie. So what I'm going to do now, hopefully you can see, is I'm going to fold this piece down so that a smidgen of the blue is showing on the top and some is folded to the back. And I'm just going to iron that into place. Sometimes I'm lazy and try to do this with my heat press, but believe me, it's a lot better if you do it with a real iron. So I just need to like set that there. Give it a nice press. Eventually what we'll be doing is putting a little bit of glue in here. And I've discovered that I can use art, uh-oh, look at that. I can use art glitter glue. Yikes, I better put a piece of paper on the next one I'm doing. I probably should use a different ironing surface too. This one's awfully flimsy. All right, now I'm going to press this one back also. So pressing it to the back on that dotted line. All right, so now I have these two pieces. I'm going to take those over and start ironing them together. I will put right sides together. So here's the right side and here's the right side. And what I'm going to do is pin it and sew all along the edge of the dark stuff. So you can follow me over there. Okay, I'm ready to start pinning now. So I'm just going to pin this together at the top. And just all the way along. I have my machine set up just on a straight stitch, and I have the stitch length really short so that it's easier for me to go around some of these curves. Whoops, I don't want that big one. And of course, when I come up to the top up here, I'm going to make sure that both of these sides are folded down. Okay, so I'll start over here. And again, like I said, I'm just using white thread, but I'm going to make my stitch length very short so that it's easier to go around corners. So I'm going to start a little tiny bit in, do a few stitches, and then backspace. Sometimes when I'm going around some of these corners, I like to manually raise my presser foot so I can shift it a little bit like that and like this. I'm just, when I'm going around a curve, and that should be good there for a straight now. coming up to another curve, so when I feel it's necessary, I'll just raise my presser foot. I have it so my needle stays in the down position. Hopefully your machine can do that. If not, you'll have to use your flywheel and change it so it's in the down position before you raise your presser foot and shift this a little bit. So you could actually have a bunch of these made, maybe. I don't know. And then, you know, if you were selling these at a fair, holiday fair, you could just go ahead and put on the name, maybe. I'm not sure how that would work. I've not actually tried it yet, so that'd be something you might like to try. Make a bunch of these, make one stocking, you know, and put everything on it except for the name, and then see if you can go back and put the name on it. And again, I'm coming to this edge, so I'm making sure that both sides have this thing folded over where I want it to be. Carefully go down all the way to the edge, and then I'll backstitch. And that's that. So the only thing left I have to do is I'm going to put some glitter glue, art glitter glue, and because I read on it that if you go ahead and heat set it, when you're done, it will stay permanent. So I permanently want these things to stay to the back and not fray. So now before I turn it right side out, I am going to put my art glitter glue on there. Here's what I'm using. I buy mine off of Amazon. You can use my Amazon link underneath if you'd like. So I'm just putting a little line of it down here. Not too much. Press that into place. I'll do the other side then as well. So I'm just putting it on here. And then just pressing that down into place. And kind of press it a little bit. Then I can go back over to my iron and iron this. Okay, I'm going to put a piece of paper in between here just in case. I don't want any of that bleeding off happening. So I'll just do this side first. And then flip it over and do the other side. Okay, and that should complete it. And now, should be able to turn it right side out. But wait, remember I told you this is when you might want to make sure that you really trim fairly close to that line of stitching. Okay? So you can trim off some more of that white edge. And it just gives you a nicer, cleaner turn when you go to do it. And up here you could angle it just a little smidgen. Right here I can angle a little smidgen like that. And again, just cut down here close to the line of stitching without going through it, obviously. Okay, and now is when I can turn it right side out. Trim off any of these funny edges if you have any right here. You could put fray check on here too if you wanted to. Turn it right side out. Using your finger to get in there and really push it out. Then there is your adorable little stocking. You could fill it with pencils and pens and art supplies if your child's old enough like that. You could put candy in here, gum, you know, whatever you'd like. I think it turns out super cute. And I'm going to press this one more time in my heat press, just because I found that to be pretty easy. I will put it in a piece of this Teflon sheet. Okay, now that you've seen the finished product, come on over to my screen, to my Silhouette software, and I'm going to show you how you can make this, how you could change it up. You could put your dog's picture on it or anything like that. I happen to get the images that I use from Creative Fabrica, but you can get yours anywhere, even photographs. Okay, here we are in my Silhouette software, and as you look up here at the page setup, which is this icon right here, I'm using my portrait machine. My cutting mat is for the portrait. I have my media size set to custom because the paper that I'm using for my sublimation is not 8.5 by 11, but rather it's 8.3 by 11.7. So I made my paper size on my mat look just like that. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I've already saved this, so I'm going to go up to my library. And if you look at my library, when I come over here to designs on the left-hand side, I have all kind of folders I've made in here. And the one that I'm going to look in right now is called Holidays and Seasons. And obviously it's in Christmas. So I remember that I named it Stockings, and these are in alphabetical order. So here it is at the bottom. So I'll just double click on it, and that opens it right up. So we have one for Levi and one for Layla. And I'm going to show you how to make this. Now, you'll be able to download this very image, because I'm not going to show you how to draw out the stocking. You can get that anywhere. But let's just assume that we're going to use my shape right here. I think what I'll do is I'll change this orientation right now to landscape, so that we can see this right side up rather than upside down. Okay. So, and I'm going to go ahead and flip this horizontally so it looks more realistic. Okay, so what we have here are two different stockings. You probably can't see this one over here very well, but I'll ungroup these and I'll make the line color of this one darker by upping its weight so you can see it more clearly. Now you can see I actually have two stockings. I just sublimate the front. I think that's all that's necessary. And the back, if I want to, I could sublimate it and I wouldn't have to worry about white showing through. But for this purpose, I decided to save on my ink. And what I did was I made it so that these two stockings would fit on one sheet of paper. So that's how I determined the size I wanted to make. Now, if you download this, you're going to just ungroup this, and I'm going to take this paper off here, right? And if you'll notice behind there, I still have the stitching. See that when I turn it up? So let's move this back over in here. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to go ahead and change this. Now, the easiest way to change this is just right-click on it. Well, first of all, you need to get something. Let's pretend like I'm going to make it just a color. Let's make it a reddish color. And let's pretend like I'm going to bring in my dog's picture. I think I have one of her. Let's see. File and merge. And I'm hoping I have a picture of Daisy. So I'm going to search my downloads here, and maybe I have one of. All right, so there she is. Maybe I want to use this picture, but I'd probably want to choose a better one for her. And, you know, maybe I just want to put it on the front of that like that, or her whole body on here like this. Pixabay.com, and I'll say Christmas kids, and then we'll see some Christmas pictures of some kids that maybe we could use. This is cute, isn't it? Or how about this little guy here? I'll just use him. So I'm going to do the free download. Download. He's downloading right here. So now I'll come back to Silhouette and I'll go to File, Merge, and I'm going to merge in that little picture of him. All right, so what I'm going to want to do with him, let's get rid of Daisy's picture, is I will want to go ahead and trace him so that I can just put his photo on here. So I'd come over to the Trace tool and select the Trace area and just trace. Hopefully the white's going to trace okay. It may not. Let's see. Okay, let's go down a little bit. There we go. I think that's going to trace okay. So I'll say trace and detach. So I can delete this. And now what I can do is go ahead and make him smaller. And I could bring him over here and actually make him larger if I'd like. One thing I'm seeing about him though is there's this white border around him that I don't really want. So let me show you how you can get rid of that if you find you get something like that going on. All you have to do is say offset and do an internal offset. Now you can see where that offset is and we don't want anything nearly that big. So I'm going to start just clicking down till I get about out to where I think, well, a little bit bigger I think. I'm trying to get rid of that white. I'll say apply. And now what I'm going to do is grab both of these things, come over here to the modify panel and say crop. So what that did was it cropped that right out of there. There's one more thing I might want to do though. Look at this right here. I might want to get rid of that so the stocking color shows behind there. So I can come over here again to the trace and I'll say trace by color and I'll just get that spot in there. Up my tolerance just a little bit. Say trace and detach, and now I can just drag that right out of there. Again, what I might have wanted to do was to get rid of that white part in there, so let's just do this a little bit. Let's trace this again, or let's take this while it's selected. I'm going to offset it, and I'm going to just do a little offset like that. Offset it, not an internal. Make it a lot smaller, but just a teeny bit bigger than that. I'll say apply, and now I'm going to take that and hold down this and say subtract. I think subtract. See if that took it out. Yep, looks better. All right, so now we can bring him back over in here. So that just shows you how easily you can use a photograph in here, and I can make him larger if I'd like to, like that maybe. And if I wanted to, what I could actually do as well is to put a pattern behind him. So I could click on this, and to show you how I use the patterns from Creative Fabrica, I could just come here to File and Merge. And my Creative Fabrica were these, let's see, Christmas background. I could bring in a JPEG. And maybe I want to bring in this one. Okay, and so it comes in awfully large, but that's okay. What I can do now is I can take this, grab that red piece here. I'll right click on this piece, the wallpaper, and send it to the back. And now all I have to do is click the stocking, hold down my shift key, grab the pattern paper, and say crop. Now you might not like the way that's cropped, but that's okay because you can come up here to this paint palette, go to the third one over, which is the pattern, come to advanced options and scale it. So you can have a lot more of those on there if you want, like that even, right? So then I could just bring that piece back over here behind him. And that'd be super cute. Just like that, but I want to move this over so it's in line with the word Layla, of course. I'm being very careful to make sure this side lines up well on this one. I could scroll in, way in with the bug tool and make sure. Look at that, perfect. And over here looks perfect. So I could now, if I wanted to, scroll back out. I could change let's see. I could ungroup this. Well, I don't really need to ungroup this. I could change that color. Let's check it out and see if I can just change the blue. Yeah, there we go. But I might want to get it exactly the same color as what is his outfit. There we go. The only other thing that I could do if I wanted to is stretch him way out like this. And let's bring this over actually, and bring this over. And let's just say, grab both of these things, come over here, oops, to this modify panel, say divide. Because what that's going to allow me to do is take off these extra pieces of him that I don't want. I could take that piece off, but I need that. Grab all this stuff back together and group it, and then bring him back over here. And again, what I can do is I can click on this part behind, right click and say bring it to the front. But if you'll notice, I also have some more hiding back there. So I'm going to bring this to the front as well. And also my name, bring it to the front. I could have grouped all that together and just done this one time, but I didn't. So, and we can change the name on that, obviously. I'll group these two. I want to move this one up a little tiny bit. Group this and group. Again, make sure it lines up perfectly, so I'm moving it down until it does. There we go. And I'll click on that, hold down my shift key and click on the part at the bottom. This. Hold down shift and this and move it up. All right, and now what I could do, well, I need to move this up. I need to actually center these. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to group it. Okay, because what I want is, remember this dotted line here? We want that to go a little bit through the red. Okay, like that. I'm going to ungroup this again and bring this down a little bit. Whoops. Bring just this down a little bit more because I'm trying to get it centered in there. And that dotted line goes through there. So that's really, really super adorable. Let's pretend his name is Bobby. Well, let's group all this again so we don't mess it up. Group. And I think I'll even group it with this outer stuff. Just group it all. And now what I can do is I'll just name him Bobby. B-O-B-B-Y. And bring this down here. Change it to any color I like. I might as well make it the red. Click on Bobby. Make it that red. And there it is. That's how cute that stocking is. Isn't that adorable? All right. So now what I'm going to do is just scroll back out. I'm going to grab all this stuff again and group it. I want to make sure it stays grouped. So what we need to do with this one now is we need to go ahead and right click and flip it horizontally. The problem is I want to double check now. Let's see. If this one fits on top of this one, this one fits on top of this one perfectly, that tells me I need to flip this one now horizontally. Okay, flip it oops, not that way. Flip it horizontally like that. Yes. So then this would be ready to go. I don't need to make this a print then cut because as you saw, I just did it with my scissors. I would just print this and then cut it out and continue the directions that I showed you before. Okay, so I decided to just go ahead and do this one, even though I don't know this child, and I just named him Bobby. But I wanted to show it to you guys so you could see how cute, cute, cute they turn out. And again, this is why I really appreciate it when you use my links down below, because it allows me to purchase the stuff so that I can make the things and make the mistakes so that you don't have to. And so you'll be able to see how things turn out. So again, please, when you're in the market to buy something, use my links down below. It really does help me to be able to continue on. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and print this out. So I'm going to grab all this and group it first. And I'm going to change my paper back to the way it is, just like that. So I'm just going to say set. Oh, no, I have to print it first. I'm going to go to File, Print, Print. I'm going to choose my Epson because that is my sublimation printer. I'm going to check the preferences. I just made a brand new thing, a new preset. So I'm going to click on that and say OK. And I'm going to print. So I'll show you this one when it's all finished. Okay, and here's Bobby's little stocking, and I did make this one double-sided, just so you could see. And I showed you how easy that is in the video. I think it turned out super cute. Thanks again for joining me, you guys. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and share it across all your social medias where you're able to. Again, use my links down below, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.